Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back. This is a small collage, I'll call it, of short clips showing President Biden's gaffes. Now, am I doing this to make fun of him? I'm not going to lie, kind of. But mostly because I don't know how many people know how serious it is. Obviously, people won't intervene in his life, i.e. his family, other Democrats, the Democratic Party, the DNC, his chief of staff, his people that work in the West Wing, even the vice president. Of course, her stepping in would be self-serving, but nonetheless, nobody's stepping in to say this is enough. This is enough. You got your goal. Donald Trump is gone. Frankly, this guy's lost it. And do I take joy in showing the next few clips? Kind of. But it's sad too. But I'm trying to make a point. The point is, it's over for him. It's over. So let's listen to some of the rhetoric from our president.
The strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Back in 2009, during the so-called Great Recession, the president asked me to be in charge of managing that piece. Then President Trump, excuse me, Freudian slip. That was the last president. He caused, anyway, that was President Obama when I was vice president. You know, with regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. I got to the Senate 180 years ago. 180 years ago.
And I'm looking forward to celebrating my 58th birthday. My 58th birthday.
Now, when President Harris and I took a virtual tour of a vaccination center in Arizona, we have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Yes.
Now, one thing about dementia, interrupt the video. One thing about dementia is kind of like being drunk sometimes. And you tell the truth, and we'll just leave it at that.
By the way, what you all know, but most people don't know, unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things.
And that's the catch. That's the rub. Black people in the United States all think alike. But Hispanic people are very diverse and don't. They actually believe this. That's not a misstep. He believed that long before his dementia. Long before. And the vast majority of high-ranking Democrats also believe it. That, folks, by definition, is racism.
Have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
And there it is again. It slips out. It's not a miscue. It's him telling the truth, what they actually believe. The Democrat Party are still the racists.
Wealthy kids, black kids, Asian kids. No, I really mean it, but think how we think about it.
Now, here's the funny part. Did you hear in the background? They were applauding. They were applauding that. Think about that.
I agree that everybody, once they, in fact, anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Vice President.
These truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. Among many qualified people, I'm the best qualified person for this job. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. When you think about it. You know, the rapidly rising with with I don't know. I just spoke at Dartmouth on healthcare at the medical school, or not. I guess I wasn't actually on the campus, but the people from the medical school were at the. I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. I'm not sure whether it was a medical school or where the hell I spoke, but it was on the campus. I propose, and I'm going to digress slightly. We're in a situation. The president asked me to head up a cancer moonshot in Guatemala, El Salvador, and to go in and say in Honduras and say, look, I took on Putin in terms of Iraq. In terms of what was going on in Ukraine. By strengthening, by investing $100 billion in education, in global warming efforts. It's a whole range of things. We can't afford it by just beginning to treat work, reward work as much as wealth.
It get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
Listen to that again and tell me this is okay. Honestly and truly tell me it's okay.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Have the shells, a 12-gauge shotgun.
Reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Have the shells, a 12-gauge shotgun.
Don't jump! Don't jump! Don't jump! They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my...
No man has a right to raise a hand to a woman in anger. We have to just change the culture, period, and keep punching at it and punching at it and punching at it. It will be a big... No, I really mean it.
Now what happened was the crowd was laughing. He's talking about punching at the problem of violence to women. And he says, no, he thought they were laughing at his stance, not the words he was saying. You got to remember something. Am I picky? Am I being nitpicky? These people talk for a living, and words have meaning. Words have consequences. They talk for a living. That's the point.
We have to eliminate the funding gap that exists between minority white and majority white and non-white districts. We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Now, he believes that. Poor kids are just as talented as white kids. That's the legacy of the racism of old in the Democrat Party. It's just a new and improved form. Honestly and truly, it wasn't that long ago when Richard Byrd was Senator Byrd, a high-ranking member of the Ku Klux Klan, and Hillary Clinton's mentor, was in the Senate with Joe Biden.
Trump was out there tweeting again this morning. I call him President Tweety.
Well, Trump is pursuing a damaging and erratic trade war without any strategy, by the way.
This guy is moving to just foment hate. But President Trump and the demagogues around the world, but if Donald Trump is reelected, he doesn't want to shed light. He wants to generate heat, and he's stoking violence in our city. My physical as well as my mental fitness. And I want to see these beautiful young ladies. I want to see them dancing when they're 4 years older, too.
Now, there's the young girl sitting there he's talking about that he wants to see dance 4 years from now. Is this really okay?
I'm looking forward to this, man. You walk behind me in a debate. Come here, man.
Why should people want to make a change, though?
Well, that's up to them to decide.
Why should they?
It's for them to decide.
Why should they vote for you? She says, make your case. He says, no, I'm not going to. This is not okay. And she's standing there wondering, and she's probably an ultra-liberal reporter going, what the F is going on? She's trying to smile and be polite.
Well, make your case.
I'm not going to. We can't rebuild our economy and meet this climate crisis, exacerbating the need for environmental justice. Sorry, as a bug. Speaking of the environment. We need to work again with Canada and Mexico as neighbors, not as adversaries. Donald Trump does pose an extra threat to this. It's not hypothetical. There's things that are worth dealing with China tough on. That makes it far more durable, reliable, and powerful. And partnerships built on coercion. Because if you could, and what makes his wild claims and hopes, he now hopes we don't notice what he said or won't remember. And when he does follow through or doesn't do, would follow through, the exact opposite. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. What happened? The way China will respond is when we gather the rest of the world that in fact believes in open trade and making sure that we're in a position that the world that we deal with WHO the right way. That in fact that's when things began to change. I looked at it anyway. That's what I think my plan. I know what my plan does. I mean. But I mean, it's not about, I know you're supporting by saying booing, but look, here's the bend down.
I mean, look at that. Look at that. Listen to that.
Down and whisper in my ear. Wow. And go home and get me pillows. They would make sure they'd actually, probably nothing ever taught in, you can't do it in the COVID time, but they'd actually breathe in my nostrils to make me move, to get me moving. So you don't make somebody else sick. Sick. What's with this guy? Well, the only thing we can do about it is be prepared. We have a whole group of lawyers who are going out to every voter registration physician in the states, the secretaries of state, making sure that they, in fact, have a game plan as to how they're going to allow the voting to take place.
How they allow the voting to take place. Now, why don't you just pause the video, after I talk, of course, and think about all the things you just saw. This is just a short synopsis. And I want you to imagine that this was President Trump saying these things. And what would happen in the media, including Fox? What would happen? We don't like double standards in this country. We never have. But in fact, a two-tier standard, whether it be criminal justice, employment, or anything else, is what the Democrats are supposed to be adamantly against. And yet, they have a two-tier standard when it comes to this. And not just a two-tier standard, not just a little bit better, dramatically better different how they're treated. It's insane. Let's finish up.
But in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, soon to be. Estimated that 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk. Unnecessary. 200 million people have died, probably by the time I finish this talk. Unnecessarily. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID.
No. Donald Trump, they went on his case for a week in all the mainstream media, most of it, about him having 2 scoops of ice cream when everybody else got 1. Listen to the statements this gentleman's making, and I'm trying to be kind, because in a way I feel sorry for him. But he's not the guy, he's not your Uncle Joe that's retired and causes no harm. He's the President of the United States. This is serious.
That's why I made it a priority my entire career to work closely with you. From the time I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
The strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Reach in the pool and rub my leg down
So it was traded and then watch the hair come back up again. The strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. Reach in the pool and rub my leg down. So it was traded and then watch the hair come back up again. The strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure. I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Now, after watching that, and those of you that voted for Biden as are watching this, and those of you that hate Donald Trump, I'll be more respectful of President Trump. Think about what you're doing. Think about what you're doing to your fellow countrymen. Think about what you're doing to the world stage. Think about it. Enough is enough. Intervention is needed. I hope my prediction still holds. I said probably about the third week or so of January. We're getting close to that now. President Biden will resign. They've got one problem that they can't solve. Well, besides Biden's mental instability and dementia, the one problem they can't solve is they have to get rid of Vice President Harris, and they don't know how to do it. And so here we are in this game of chicken that the Democratic Party, the DNC, has put us in, and the entire country is being held hostage, all because they hated Donald Trump. And those of you anti-Trump people out there, think about what you've done. It's like having your sink leak. So what you decide to do, instead of fixing the sink, you burn down the house. And that's how you solve the problem. And that's what you guys have done. Think about it. It's time for an intervention. And that normally interventions in politics are elections. Think about it when you vote this November in the midterms. And until next time, goodbye and good luck.